Periodically, you need to pot up a bunch of things, which is where I'm at the moment. So I just want to talk a bit about your potting mix options. Now, I don't want to talk about orchid mixes and seed raising mixes and cactus and succulents and those sorts of things. We'll just set all those aside. This is really what are the basic potting mixes you need to think about if you're doing potting up a range of plants. So on the left hand side, you've got organic potting mix. It's a bog standard, cheap and cheerful mix. Doesn't have any of the ticks, doesn't have red ticks or black ticks. So bags like that will be a non-standards, non-Australian standard certified potting mix. So they won't carry all the fertilisers and other things. They'll hold the plant up and they'll hold enough water, they'll drain enough and they'll do that, but they won't have a lot of fertiliser in them. So if you've got all of that yourself and you just want it quick, easy, cheap and cheerful, no problems. Organic potting mix will work a treat. The next layer up from that is something like the InOut door. So you'll see this is a black tick, so it's a regular Australian standard certified potting mix. What that means is it has to meet some basic standards, one of which is enough fertiliser to grow a plant for a month. There are some other parts as well, but the basics, the really important issue is, does it hold enough nutrition, fertiliser, to grow the plant? So in that case, it's for at least 1 month's growth. In this case, that particular mix does both indoor and outdoor plants, so if you've got a couple of each to do, then that'll work fine. If you have no fertiliser and you just want something to pot the things up and almost forget about them, then you start looking at the premium potting mixes. So you'll see these two here have red ticks. When you're considering those, you really need to start looking at the detail on the bags though, because there are premiums and premiums. They all have to meet basic standards. So in this case, they have to at least feed a plant for 5 to 6 months, which is this premium potting mix here. And it will feed them well. You can have others though, which is the professional potting mix, which has other bells and whistles. This one will last the plant 8 to 9 months. So it's got more water holding, it's got other benefits, water crystals, such and such. So there are levels of premium if you like. So you really need to look at the details of the bag. Why that's important and why I like the professional is there are some plants, in this case citrus or roses. I don't grow roses, but roses are another plant that are a very heavy feeder. So they like a lot of fertiliser, particularly in the spring. So you can see all these buds are bursting now. At that point, they like a fair bit of food. So I'd use a professional potting mix rather than the premium potting mix. Both good mixes. This one's got more fertiliser and bells and whistles, so I would use that for plants that like that much more fertiliser. Then you'll find other sort of specialist mixes. So there's a balcony, planter and tub mix. So the idea of this one, it's a 50 litre bag. So we've gone from a 25 to a 30, 30, 30 litre. This is a 50 litre bag. So the idea of this one is you're getting into those large pots and very large containers. So you start to get towards mixes that, or containers, sorry, that aren't quite growing in the ground, but they're not like growing in a 140 ml pot. It's a bit of a compromise thing. So they're a bit heavier, higher water holding. They will support bigger plants in some ways. So look at these things. There'll be other sorts of mixes for specialist things like cacti and succulent, but this tub and planter box is really when you're getting for large planters. So again, look at the detail of what all these things offer. They all do different things. They'll all grow a plant to some point, some better than others. So look at the details on your bags. Go for either one that has no certification, because you've got your own fertiliser and other things. A basic one, which is perhaps a price point you need to hit, or you start using the ones that have all the bells and whistles and then you pot them up, don't worry about them.